Getting a little hot.
Our busy season. This is my favorite time of year for the games. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what? I used to be a fall hater. I used to think people used to just pick fall because it was mainstream. But
Not this mainstream. I like that. That's funny.
no, because everybody, oh, my fall's my favorite season. The leaves are so sparkly, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I
Man,
think I'm going to have to side with them on
man.
that.
Honestly, being from Georgia, bro, the fall. I love the fall
I
because
think the weather
no
is
pollen.
perfect.
Yep, no pollen, and the weather is
It's nice
so
and
great.
warm. It's warm, but it's not too hot. So I'm starting to agree with people on that.
Cause,
I'm starting
Cause
to
now
understand that sentiment.
we about to hit the deepest part of hell in Georgia this year. Cause it's about to
Oh
get
yeah,
hot.
it's about to be ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
It's about to be nasty this summer, man.
So
And I love the heat, but I'm like, yo, I'm preparing myself.
I'm telling you.
It's gonna be blistering hot out there,
Not
boy.
blistering, not the weatherman. So blistering.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be hot. I don't even. Oh man, yeah. Just I don't want to be doom and gloom, but it's gonna be hot as hell, bro.
I ain't no doom. It's reality, man. Nobody cares about global warming. I ain't gonna get on no soapbox, but don't nobody care. That's why we are in the situation we're in. All right. Okay, let's get started, man. Let's cut the shit.
Word to the mother.
Play some
Word to the mother.
video
Oh
games.
yeah, Jamel, I ain't forgot about you. Jamel said if it's okay if he could borrow a clip or two
Yeah.
to put in his portfolio reel.
Yeah, hell yeah. Of course.
Yeah, I knew it wouldn't be a
I meant
problem.
to text
I
him
gotta
yesterday.
get that
Thanks
to
for
him.
reminding me. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that to him today because I want my brother to strive. I want my boy to strive out here, man. I'm proud of you, Jamel. I'm proud of that man.
Hell
But
yeah.
it's an easy road, you know. You could just go back to what you know. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
But he's out here putting his best foot forward.
Big shout out to the homie, man.
Yeah, I pray for that guy, man. I hope, you know.
It will work out, man. We gonna be
Yeah.
positive, bro. It's gonna work out for
I'm
him
gonna
and
get him them
everybody
clips
else.
tonight too. I'm gonna chop up some stuff and send it to him. Tonight.
Yeah, 100%,
So
100%.
he can get that reel going, baby. If he can get a job off of us being like helping, that would just make me feel awesome.
Yeah, man. He ain't even got to ask, man. I already know. All right,
Say less.
let's do this.
You gotta run it by your peoples first, you know,
Nah,
because
man.
you are on there.
He the
you know what
homie,
I'm
bro.
saying? You just-
Jamel the homie,
Yeah.
man. He the homie. No worries. God, boy, I gotta get some goddamn sinus medicine.
I've been having chest congestion. That's what my doctor been telling me. It seemed like that's been it because ever since I took my little whatchamajig, it's went away.
Yeah.
So
So I say either that, or get you some tussin, bro. Get that up out of you.
yeah. I had all that. And she was like, yes, that's the thing, especially when you get older. You just discover so
great.
much about yourself when you get older, right?
Great, I love that. Yay.
Oh, yay. Another new, every decade, you got just a new layer of what the hell.
Body slowly disintegrating. Awesome.
Mm. Damn, Rico, wait, that's crazy. I'm still trying to figure out how. Oh, he only had to be like 50 something, bro.
I saw that on Twitter. As soon as you had said it, I seen it. People talking about it. RP, man. Dungeon family. All right.
I love the dopes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 186 of the Super Weapon Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius the Artist, and as always, got my co-host DC here with me today.
What up, though? It's your favorite know-it-all who don't know nothing at all. And today, we are here to talk a little bit of video game news, what's happening in the media here. And, man, it's getting busy out here, man.
Yeah, like I said, man, like we were talking just before we started recording. This is definitely like this span of, I want to say, 3 to 4-ish months is probably my favorite time of the year, especially because we're starting to get a lot of game announcements and a lot of cool reveals on stuff. And I figured out what that was. It's because I think the quarter, I think it's Q2 just started for a lot of companies. So they're trying to get a lot of announcements out the door, get that hype up for a lot of their stock and stuff. And it's a good time to be a gamer, man. I think this is one of those rare runs that we're on where, you have so many good games to play. I want to say it's been like that for the last, 18 months. at least for me personally, it's been, a great time. So
True. Definitely. And that's true.
yeah. But yeah, I think the first thing we're gonna talk about, we've had a lot of great music discussions going on lately, so I felt like it was only appropriate for us to start with the news that you actually brought to my attention, which was the Twitch news with Dan Clancy, the CEO of Twitch, when he had an interview with a Twitch channel called Tweak Music Tips, is what they're called. I said that wrong a bunch of times earlier. And I think they're like a music based. I think he's a DJ. The guy's a DJ, if I remember right, or he does like a lot of collaboration type of stuff. But yeah, he sat down with Dan Clancy and had like a Q&A. It was live, and he talked about some interesting things that I think a lot of people who are content creators, especially on the platform of Twitch, should be paying attention to. Whether you are a DJ or not, I think this news is kind of important to kind of focus on here. And that was him talking about how they are working with the music industry at large to figure out a way to start to monetize the music that DJs are playing on the platform, which I think is interesting. We've kind of touched on the music stuff here and there as it's kind of come across the table for us over the last few years here. Twitch has definitely been. They've been trying. I want to say, I think since Dan has taken over, Twitch is definitely trying to do what's in the best interest of not just content creators, but the music industry as well. Because, as we know, the music industry could just put a stop to all of it. Like they could just be like,
Yeah, they could shut it all down easily.
As we saw, I don't know if people saw, the whole thing. What was it, UMG and TikTok? They had it out, and UMG wanted more money than they were getting from TikTok, and TikTok was like, no, and so they pulled all the music off the platform. So. Yeah, this was pretty interesting news as I started to kind of dig more into it. And I'm gonna defer a lot to you on this because I know you know a lot more when it comes to like how people are paid when it comes to music and artists and
It's
stuff.
a mess, man.
But
honestly, I kind of know, but I don't because streaming has made stuff so difficult to gauge now.
right,
It used to be a very simple formula. You just went by how many records were sold, and if you had singles, it went by singles,
right,
which was a song off your album, which you put out. It was pretty much like I would say, for a lack of better terms, a user-friendly, mainstream, radio-friendly kind of song you put out there to kind of. It was almost like promoting your full-length album, right?
oh,
So you
okay,
had
yeah,
the single, and then you had the album sales. And back then we had physical media, CDs. So it was easy to track those numbers. In a CD, let's just throw out a price. It was 14.99, right?
okay,
So it's easy to track that when you say, "Oh, well, I sold 10,000 CDs."
so I
So
kind of
you do
know,
that. Yeah, you do the math, and it's easy to figure out who gets paid what. The problem is now with streaming, you don't they refuse, the record labels refuse to put a dollar amount per stream. They keep it very secretive. Usually the number is really, really low because let's use one of the big three. See what I did there? Let's use let's use Drake for example. Drake is a universal star.
yeah,
So he'll have a billion streams. Of course, they're not going to give him $5 a stream. He'll be a billionaire. So now the numbers fluctuate between a penny to 3 pennies to like, dude, they're playing mind games.
that is
Long
so
story
insane
short,
to me.
yeah, it's hard to keep. Long story short, man, it's so hard to gauge that nowadays.
So let
And
me ask you this. So is the rate that they're paying, like let's say that is a penny per stream for that artist, is the rate that they are paying the artist different from what they
yes,
themselves are being paid by these platforms? Like, so let's say Drake gets a penny, but UMG gets 5 pennies. Is that what, like what I'm thinking?
it's rarely ever in favor of the artist.
Right. Okay.
The artist is always getting screwed. And
It's,
that's
that's
why a
interesting.
lot of people like Snoop, you'll see like a lot of artists, they've been stepping up and they've been saying like, okay, well, we need to know what we're getting paid
Right.
because it's always these weird numbers. Like when you start researching it, you won't find an answer. Like they'll give you answers like, "Oh, it's less than a penny." Sometimes you'll see less than a penny. You getting like 0.70. Like
That is so
it's weird,
crazy.
and it's because like I said, if they were giving Drake $10 per stream, and then you have an album that's on iTunes, right?
Hmm.
So say if you listen to one song more than the other, that's an individual stream. They don't even count the whole album. Just going by
Oh,
individual song
that
now.
sucks.
Yeah,
So
so
it's not
it's
like
a mess. It's a
a
mess.
wholesale like
Yeah, it's not like, oh, well, this CD did this.
right.
It's like, oh, well, these songs, like when they say an artist like a Beyonce, oh, they celebrate Spotify and Beyonce did a gazillion streams. Okay, a gazillion streams could be $3,000. That's how crazy the game is.
So I mean, and to that point, it kind of makes sense why, at least in my opinion, you have a lot of artists who are using kind of music to be like their foot in the door to the entertainment
Yeah, they want to
industry,
do other stuff.
and then they
Yeah,
branch out to other things. Or you'll see, you look at, like you said,
merch.
Beyonce, Jay-Z, like those type of artists don't really excuse me, they don't really have to do as much music anymore because because they probably don't want to. It's probably
It's
the
artistry for them now.
yeah.
Once you get to that billionaire level, like Beyonce just dropped a hair products, which is going to do phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's Beyonce. She just all her whole country album charted on Billboard 1 through 27. All her songs charted. She
that's
was
insane.
number 1 through like 20 on Billboard. I think she still is. So whatever Beyonce touches, it's the Midas
Yeah,
touch. She's going to do well. So you have artists like her, Jay Z. They venture out, create businesses, do other things. But when they drop in albums, I feel like with them, it's just for the artistry. They want to
yeah.
create something. So
So that's
now,
interesting, right? So like
yeah, I was
that,
gonna say,
like in
go ahead.
relation to the Twitch and the music industry charging DJs for live sets. This is something I actually learned about researching this as well. That DJs they have to pay a portion of their proceeds to certain labels based off of the songs that they play live, like
For
whether that's like on
sets.
Twitch or not, right? Like if they're at a Coachella or something like that, they'll end up, they're paid and then they end up paying. So I wonder, because one thing I thought that was interesting that Clancy talked about is that they already are like Twitch themselves are paying the labels a certain amount of money right now. Just I think it's just like an overall amount. He didn't get into specifics, of course, but the labels, that's the only thing that's kind of kept them at bay, and the fact that they're actively working with the labels to try to figure out a potential solution to having
Because
having it, having people being able to, probably listen to music and play it on the on Twitch. So that's interesting.
I mean, with music, it's always a trick bag of getting paid. So I got a fresh pair of eyes on this as well because I never really thought about how DJs get paid, and who they would have to pay.
Yeah.
But if you look into it, if you look at most DJs, if you look at their set list of who they're playing, usually, not all the time, but sometimes they're usually under one umbrella. So say like what's a record label? I just throw something out there. Universal. Well, no, I
Right.
think they're distributors. I don't know. Just throw a record label out there. And if you look at like I'm just throwing out names here. This is not this is all names. Just say you got Rihanna,
Right.
ASAP Rocky, and give me a third, ASAP Ferg or somebody. If you look at who they're under, usually they're always under kind of like the same label.
Right.
So I wonder if they like when you're doing their set, you mix all three of them. It's just like, okay, well, I'm just paying this label. I'm just talking theoretically here. Please, 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 if you have any solid information on this, please hit us up on Twitter, hit us up in the Discord, because I would like to know personally, because this is a mess. Like when you look at it, it's kind of like a mess, but it's a necessary evil because I get it. People want to get paid for their stuff. And then, Twitch,
Rightfully so. Rightfully
yeah,
so.
Twitch always just in this. I try to tell people all the time, like, look, Twitch is a business. We have to start really being mindful of that, because a lot of people just get mad, or they get mad at Dan and they're like, oh man, you said it wasn't going to be this. Oh, we're being overcharged. Oh, this, and that, and the third. But it's like, on a business tip, hey man, people have to get paid. Like, if you created a piece of art,
Excuse
you
me.
just wouldn't want it just being like, tossed all over the internet or whatever. You would like to at least get recognition for that, right?
Absolutely.
So it's crazy, man. Like, I looked at this and I was like, I want to see where this goes. And I want to know more back end stuff. Like, I would just really, really want to speak to Mr. Clancy about this, bro. It's just like,
Yeah, and I
see,
and I mean I think and I think people need to realize too, how this could affect the platform at large, because there's plenty of people, including myself, who listen to music on stream, and most of the time for me, I try to find as much DMCA free music as I can, because
right,
Twitch's systems is built to where it will detect certain music, in your VODs. It doesn't do it live like a YouTube or a TikTok. I honestly, and I think that's just a matter of time for Twitch. They're probably just trying to figure out the logistics on how they can make that work, on their platform. But
right,
I
right.
think, a lot of people were trying to, or were curious about how this could potentially work. And I had a couple of like ways I think they could possibly do this. Like, one way, which I think wouldn't work as well, but could be a possible short term solution, is have DJs kind of submit their sets, before stream or something, or hey, here are the songs that I'm going to be mixing or playing, during my set on stream, or something along those lines, and then that way maybe the labels can kind of cross reference that with those. And I'm not sure how much of the pie they're trying to take out of a streamer's pocket at that point, because it's already, streamers
Pretty
already
tight.
don't get, you only get 50% of the $5 that, $2.50 of what you're making anyway, right? Unless you're hitting certain thresholds. So, what if the music industry is like, okay, well, we want $1 of that 250, then that could severely affect DJs' revenues on the platform. Or they could do something, uh, like I say, I was thinking like the live service. It detects what you're playing, and they just come up with a flat rate for just music being played on the platform. I wonder if that's what TikTok does. I really want to know, because I don't know how it works on TikTok either. I just know that TikTok has a some sort of deal with the labels to where they allow the music to be played on the platform, and it's worked wonders for a lot of artists. I mean, I found some pretty good
It's a
music.
give and take.
Yeah, it's like a give and take, and I think that's what people need to realize, because a lot of people are like, "Oh man, how are they going to implement this? They can't enforce this." Like, yeah, they can. Like, they
Dude,
absolutely
yes, they
can.
can. Like, people who saying stuff like that,
Like, you
like
guys
I
are ignorant.
said, and don't just stew in your ignorance. Start looking this stuff up, because you got to understand, man. If you're running any other business, no matter what it is, there's going to be little caveats and stuff that you need to know about, in terms of, you just can't go out there and just like, oh, I'm just going to make this money, do this and do that.
Yeah.
That's how people get jammed up with their taxes and all
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
this other stuff, because you're not looking at it. I just want people on Switch. I want people on the other side to really, really start to open their mind. Just don't, yell out on Twitter or the internet. Like, start doing the research, because, they want to crucify this man at every turn.
Every
I'm
time he
speaking
talks,
about
there's
Dan.
drama. People are angry at
Yeah,
him.
it's like, but when you really look at some of the stuff he's doing, it's business.
Yeah.
It's legit business. Like, people got to get paid. X's and O's have to be crossed for this platform to even exist. Because one thing you do not want to do is go against the music machine. That's
Yeah, and
them, some
honestly,
greedy
man,
bastards.
and if
They
and if
gonna
I
get what they owe.
right, and if I'm being like, my thinking is, if they come up with a viable solution, this could open up more music opportunity, or more opportunities for people to either play music, listen to music on the platform itself. I mean, when that Future album dropped, was it a week, 2 weeks ago? A
Hmm.
lot of the big content, you see a lot of YouTubers and stuff reacting to it on YouTube, without any issues, because of certain things that YouTube's policies are much different when it comes to music. I mean, they have live Their detection technology is crazy. Like their music tech is absolutely insane. And it's
Oh,
something
trust me, don't I know?
same,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. YouTube does not
down
mess
down
around,
to the second they will find that track. You know what I mean? And
and they'll let you know. They'll send you an
yeah,
email. Hey, at Mark 2:14 in the background, I think we heard a little Metro booming.
yeah, you know what I mean. So I think it's interesting. I think a flat rate would probably work best. I mean, because I know there are some streamers right now. You have the ability to separate the audio tracks from your live stream to where they don't show up in your VOD. I'm too
Mhm.
lazy to do it. I know how to do it. I just don't want to redo all my audio. I think it's a pain in the butt. I don't play music enough for that for me to warrant myself to do that.
Right.
And like I said, I think this isn't going anywhere, and people just need to realize like Dan is every time he appears from the mist from the mountain the mountaintop of Twitch, he talks about how he wants the platform to be profitable and how things have to change. I mean, it just has to for the platform to grow. I mean, I know a lot of people think Twitch is the king of the mountain right now with live stream, but that can always change. And everybody has their jokes about Kick, and yeah, they they have a lot going on over there. But I think Kick is at least trying to move in the right direction, and they seem like, at least from what I see
I
from
think
the
so.
CEO and stuff, are saying they're committed to making the platform something actually good and viable and safe for people to not only stream
It's gonna
on
be
but
a
to come
lot.
to. Yeah, so
There's gonna be a lot of changes on Twitch, and the people who do dumb shit, they're gonna be the main ones complaining. I guarantee it. The people who just went over there and just think that, they could do whatever they want because they're on Twitch, they'll be the main ones complaining. But
right.
Twitch doesn't care because they're thinking about profitability. At the end of the day, it's always about business.
Oh,
So if you
100%.
don't align with what they're trying to do, then hey, you move over to what's the other little what's that joint? Um, there's another streaming platform that's kind of loosey goosey. I can't think of the name of it.
Not kid was
It'll,
like
it'll
D Live or something. It's one of those, or
um it'll come to me because I know like there's a lot of other people who use that in the music media world. I can't think of the name of it
oh,
right
okay.
now. Um, but yeah, so it's like also this is why I champion things like Amaze was doing with his music show, him
Underground
and
Uprising. Yeah.
Dub. Yeah, I believe the brother name is Dub Music, his co-host,
I think so.
and what
Yeah.
they were doing. Yeah, that's why I really championed what they were doing because essentially I was talking to Amaze about it, and I was like, I see the vision because you guys could have like a Kick soundtrack. You can curate music being used specifically for Kick that people could listen to. Like you guys
Yeah.
could essentially get artists from your talent show, and y'all can like create a legit Kick soundtrack, and then have people use it in their streams without having to worry about getting any strikes or anything like that. So you know the music, when it comes to like music and streaming, man, it's always going to be a cat and mouse type of thing. It's always going to be a back and forth. It's never going to be I don't think it's ever going to be perfect, but I do believe, the CEOs at the top of these platforms, it seems like for the most part they are trying to integrate and make things work. So, shout out to them, man, because it's not easy. Like a lot of people, y'all really need to understand that when you're dealing with music, it's no joke, and that shit is not easy, man.
Nah, I mean, absolutely not. And like I said, I think this will open the doors for Twitch to hopefully open the doors for Twitch to have other types of content on the platform. Like imagine if Twitch partners with, Coachella, or the DJs playing there, and they have like an official broadcast of, what's going on there, performances and stuff, and
Yeah,
that
because
revenue
YouTube
is
does that.
shared. Yeah, you know what I mean. That revenue could be
YouTube
shared to the
broadcast
artists.
live.
Yeah, they do, and that's what I mean.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of stuff would be cool. I mean, I know people are kind of iffy about that kind of stuff, but it's coming. It's gonna happen, and at least they're trying to. At least both sides are trying to figure it out. Because from where it was before that, the music industry was just trying to axe all of this shit. They were trying to get rid of it completely. They were like, we don't want music on Twitch at all. So, shout out to Dan,
And you
man, once again.
and you don't understand like how much people like use music for their streams. Like
Right.
it's a thing. It's a major thing. And then I was just thinking about like moving forward, like GTA RP for example.
Right.
You know that utilizes a lot of music, even if it's like
That's a good
in-game
point too.
music.
Yeah, the radio and stuff. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the radios that's in GTA, like it's crazy because people were getting strikes for that. Like
Yeah.
you had to play GTA with your music cut off. And this
Yeah,
was
and I
music
mean,
specifically made for the game. So
which is insane to me. I mean, I remember I know a lot of games nowadays will try to do it. They'll try to do that DMCA free
yeah, they
mode. I
have
mean,
streamer modes and
yeah, Cyberpunk did it. I don't know how well it worked on Cyberpunk. I don't remember if any of my VODs got muted when I played Cyberpunk on stream. I don't think so. But then again, I didn't listen to a lot of music. I try to avoid as much as that stuff, much of that stuff as I can while I'm playing games. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I mean it's just not worth the headache, to get a strike on your channel or to get a DMC, some sort of DMC action taken against your Twitch. So once again, as always, guys, try to educate yourself on this stuff, man, because changes are coming, and it could be sooner rather than later, from what Dan was talking about. And of course, if you guys want to go watch the interview yourself, go to hold on, I had it in front of me. Tweak Music Tips. I it's a tongue twister, man. Twitch.tv/Tweak Music Tips is where that interview
mhm.
took place the other day. So shout out to that person
Please
for
watch
talking to
that.
him. Yeah.
Please.
It's not like a
I'm
super
all
long interview.
about being informed this year, man.
Yeah.
Because I really want people who stream, if you really trying to really, really get your shit off in this content creation business, we, myself included, we really gonna have to start like learning the business side of it. Because right now I'm just knee deep in
Yeah.
YouTube, like learning like what's gonna get my stuff striked, all types of stuff. Like I'm just trying to learn because nothing's worse than creating a just beautifully edited video.
And have it not go
Wait, it's
anywhere.
been wait, Darius. It's oh so beautiful. You spent like 4 or 5 hours editing this video. You got everything in place. Sounds great. You go to upload that shit. Soon as it finished, like YouTube is fast.
It won't
They
even
like
let you. It
nah,
won't even let
yeah,
you publish the video anymore. Like
yeah. It'd
you.
be like boop, like that little check mark. It shows you. It'd be like I forgot what it says, but it's one paragraph that says like they're checking for music
Yep.
and if you got something in there, they are quick. And I sit up there and I'm just like, it totally derails a whole video.
Yeah, and it's
Cause
deflating too. It's kind of morally, it kind of, it hurts, man. You're like,
yeah, we was
damn.
talking about that in Bron's chat the other day. Cause she was like, I got so many like saved drafts of stuff there. I just was like, I don't even want to post it now because the time has passed too, right?
Yeah,
So you got these clips, you probably creating a timepiece for that moment. Like, say if some news dropped yesterday, okay, we could use Future in them again. Oh, Future album dropped a specific song you want to talk about. You
right.
want to kind of catch it in the moment, but then when your stuff keep getting strike, that's like 3 days later. Then you're like, oh well, I missed the moment because other people then posted their stuff, and it's just like, But I say to that, I say to that though, still post it, man.
Yeah.
Still post it. You'll be surprised. Still
Try
post
to
it.
stay a part of the conversation. Yeah, that's one thing I
Mm-hmm.
will say because funny enough, I do watch a lot of most of the stuff I watch on YouTube nowadays is reaction content, and I actually watch a lot of like music reaction stuff, especially this music that I want to listen to or just kind of hear people's opinions on certain things. It's
Oh
interesting.
man,
It's
I'm a
interesting.
junkie, bro.
It's an
I
interesting
didn't listen to
conversation,
so many
So
Cole hot takes. I didn't listen to every J. Cole hot take from here to. I've listened to at least 100 videos. I'm
hey
not
man,
gonna
shout out to
lie.
J Cole, man.
We love
Shout,
you, J. Cole.
shout out
We
to J
love you,
Cole,
man.
man. It's
We love you, but don't do that no more. But we love you.
so yeah, man. That's the whole music stuff, man. Any updates that come across, we'll see it. If you guys have any, like DC said, man, if you guys are more knowledgeable about the stuff, we would love to hear from y'all.
It might be a guess.
Because
Hell.
it's a lot of, it's just like a lot of the information is hard to find. So the more we can kind of compile and put together, the better it'll help not just us but other content creators as well. So just keep an eye on that. Don't be playing music on your streams and DMCA music because it will get struck. So yeah, that's that, man. Moving on, man. I don't know how I kind of feel about talking about this. I sent it to you the other day, and that's the rumors of the next Xbox, and
We are moving, aren't we?
you know,
It seemed like they're over it, or is it just me?
and that's
Like
and
I feel
that's
like this
something
console.
we definitely gonna, and that's something I wanted to talk about too. So, a YouTuber posted a YouTube video, Colt Eastwood, talking about rumors of the next generation Xbox, and I know it's crazy that it's crazy to say the word next gen because it doesn't feel like we've been in this generation for very long. And it's when I go back and think about it, it's like, damn, it really has been 4 years since this generation started. But it just, and I don't know if it's because of COVID or our lives have just kind of have that black hole from like 2020 to
It
2023.
really, dude, it does. I was talking to, I can't remember who I was talking to about that on Twitter. It may have been Conscious Lee,
Yeah,
somebody I was talking to on Twitter. And we talked about that. It's definitely COVID. There's without a doubt about it because you got to think we were in the house for forever.
that's true.
So it's almost like that year didn't even count, right? Like now when you look back at it on hindsight, it was the weirdest shit ever. Like, am I the only one who feel like that? Like
No,
we legitimately the world
the world stopped.
stopped. There was nothing going on. Like I remember driving down the street and there were no cars. No
It was
cars
something out. It
in
was like something out of
Atlanta.
a movie, man. Yeah, it was definitely something out of a movie, and
It was the freakiest shit ever.
yeah, and I think what really kind of started this whole conversation off, because there's apparently an email floating around from Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox. She sent out like and she's kind of talked about it too in like interviews. They've talked about they're excited to announce next, not next gen hardware, but they're excited to announce new hardware this year. And I think a lot of people are thinking that they're going to announce either some sort of all digital Series X, possibly a handheld Xbox console. But now rumors are starting to spin up of next gen hardware, not just for Xbox but for PlayStation as well. And I don't know. Me personally, man, I just feel like things are kind of rushed. In this generation as a whole, for me, when it comes from a tech standpoint, I think it's kind of a little bit lackluster for me personally, because there was a lot of promise of, true 4K gaming, 60 frames per second, high frame rate fidelity gaming, and
Don't get me started.
that's not just Xbox either; it's PlayStation as well. I mean, up until I think a year ago, 2 years ago, PlayStation didn't have a 1440p mode or performance mode on the systems. But yeah, so the rumor is that Xbox is working on obviously next gen. No, it's not a rumor; they've already said they're going full speed ahead actually on next generation hardware. So people are, word on the street is they're working on a console as well as the handheld device that will go hand in hand. With the handheld being able to have it has some sort of docking station, which kind of made me think about the Nintendo Switch. And early rumor word on the street is that some of these consoles could launch as early as 2026, which I think is just absolutely absurd. I'm not saying it can't happen, but do you feel like this
I think
generation in general, like because you have the Series X,
this
and you've had
generation
one
is a
for a
dub.
while, so like, how do you feel like this generation's gone so far? Do you feel like
Wrap
it's
it up,
been kind of
D.
like a letdown for you, or
Not necessarily, man. I I'm willing to give them grace. I'm willing to give them grace because of what we just spoke about a couple of minutes ago, as far as with COVID and stuff. I believe a lot of companies are scrambling to, well, not scrambling, but I think everyone had to shift, right? Everyone had to make adjustments and kind of do what was best for them. And I think a lot of these companies, they slowly recovered,
yeah,
especially with the gaming industry. So I know they probably looking at COVID like it can go to hell too, because they probably messed up a lot of this generation's plans, like with the Xbox,
yeah,
PlayStation, everything. PlayStation did what they did, but imagine without COVID. Imagine if everybody could have had access to a PS5 immediately. You know what I'm
or if
saying?
there wasn't a
So
shortage of parts from them to actually make
right,
the
right,
consoles, yeah, that's true.
right, and it's just like,
Excuse me.
well, I think now, correct me if I'm wrong here. A lot of them shortages came because people couldn't work, right? at the
So
time?
it was, yeah, it was
Or it was that,
essentially.
or was it deeper than that? Because I
Nah,
remember.
I mean it was essentially that. So like the factories that were producing the parts were shut
Hmm.
down for a while, just like the rest of
Like
the
everything
world.
else. Right, right,
So
right. Okay.
but that did not slow down the demand for the consoles themselves. And
Exactly.
I think
That's why we
a
had that
lot of a
problem.
lot of game studios kind of had to pivot their plans, their development plans, because they had to figure out how to work from home. And
Hmm.
I kind of I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think they were just kind of underprepared for, and who wouldn't be, right? Like a world changing
Everybody
event
was,
happens,
right?
and I feel like maybe this generation, it kind of feels more like a mid-gen update to me versus like something that was truly supposed to be, because when I think about like consoles, the history of like gaming consoles and stuff, you know, back when we were younger, the next thing that came out, it looked like something you couldn't even imagine what you were gonna see on these things, right? And then you start to see these games come out, and I think honestly, COVID put the gaming industry as a whole in a tough spot, and maybe
I
they
think they're
are.
ready to move on.
Yeah, maybe they are just ready to move forward, and this could be a shorter generation. I'm doing air quotes here, shorter, 6 years, because I think the last one was what, 7 and some change, from was it Xbox One, PS4 to PS5 and Series X was like
Right.
7 years. So I think it kind of lines up a little bit with that timeline, but I do have some concerns, for PlayStation and Xbox, because you're already at this point where the console sales are starting to kind of plateau, just in general.
Hmm.
That cap for most consoles is usually between, I think, 100 and 120, 130 million, like lifetime sales. If I remember right, the number one selling console of all time is the PlayStation 2. It was 160 million units. I think right after that's the Switch, then like the Wii, or just so on and so forth. So I think it kind of caps out at that 100 and 150 million kind of plateau. And it's like my concern for these companies is like, how do you get consumers to buy into another set of consoles where they feel like you
They
know
just got these,
where they
right?
feel like they just got these, because now you're just now to the point now where you can walk into basically any store, your local retail store, and get one of these consoles off the shelves. I feel like over the last like year and a half, that just really just started changing. So it's a difficult thing to kind of to think about. I mean, and then you look at companies that may be developing games right now. Like, do they stave off trying to launch on this generation, or do they kind of do like a cross generation release where it releases on this gen and next gen? I think that's going to happen either way because of just the nature of the business now. Like, nobody's going to just right out of the gate just drop something for a PlayStation 6 and that'll be it. Sony's not going to do that. They're going to try to get as much money as they can. They're going to try to, so from a technological standpoint, how do you show someone that it's worth buying this over a PlayStation 5? Because you can't just have the game be 4K 30 on both systems, because then I'm going to look at it like, why do I need to buy this now? I can just buy it on PlayStation 5. I don't need to invest in the
Well,
PlayStation 6, or, you know what I mean?
you kind of answered your own question. It's going to have to be a performance based thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to hit these performance benchmarks if that's the case. Because like you said, like if they push out something and it's almost like we're getting the same thing, I mean, who's gonna buy that? And who in their right mind is gonna invest in that? I feel like with this generation, honestly, I feel like they just dubbed it. Like they just was like, yo, everything's just been kind of out of whack.
Yeah.
You know, it was almost like putting a band-aid on a hatchet wound. Like we're just gonna throw this out here and then we're gonna just prepare for the next console. And it
Yeah.
seemed like that's
Yeah.
what Xbox is doing, because it seems like, you know, Sarah Bond using a lot of these buzzwords of AKA we moving the hell on type deal, right?
Yeah,
So
and trying to get people excited. Oh, it's going to be the largest technological leap of,
but
ever.
what does
And
that mean, right? Because this is my thing. You know, one thing about me, my
yeah,
pet peeve and what I hate more than anything is industry
all that
buzzwords.
fluff. Yeah.
You keep adding all this fluff McGruff to this bullshit. Like, if you keep saying we're getting these super technological advances, I want to be playing my games Like I don't want to see any more. No, I don't want to see any more 30Ks or whatever. I
30
mean,
frames, yeah, that's your
30
man.
frames per second. I said 30Ks. Boy, this boy crazy. 30Ks. Yo, but anyway, yeah.
30,000 frames in my eyes.
Bruh, you talking about Vegeta scouter breaking eyeball explosions, right?
That's
But
so funny. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like what you said, the tech has to match the
Yeah,
rush.
and for me, like it's not even just more powerful. I want to see what, because you have companies now that are starting to explore AI, and I know what people are thinking. Oh, I'm not talking about like AI generated content where they're making stuff like making
They're making
characters.
whole games. We're not saying
Right.
stuff
I'm
like
talking
that.
like using AI to enhance. Like, I mean, you look at a lot of the cool stuff that Unreal Engine 5 is doing right now, where they're using AI to where they're using AI to kind of change how the rendering of the engine works, and where it's where things that are closer to you are higher fidelity versus things that are farther away, and it's happening in real time. So as you move through the level of a game, it kind of maintains that quality. I mean, you
Right.
look at what Hellblade 2 is going to be looking like. I'm actually really excited to see that game. And Gear 6. I mean, we haven't heard from Coalition in a while. They've been real quiet. And I think honestly, it's about time we get a Gears of War 6 announcement, and I think it's going to come this summer. That's my one tinfoil hat uh just shot in the dark.
They're gonna have to do a lot for me to get back into that game.
I'm in day one. I've loved. I know some people weren't very happy with Gears 4 in particular. Gears 5, I think, did better. Minus some people were unhappy with the way it ended. I'm not, no spoilers. You have to make a choice about a certain two people, whether they live or die. But I think it's about time for Gears to come back. And when I think about next gen, it's the thing that gets me most excited is the Xbox handheld. Because if you give me something to where I can play day one, I can play it on my Xbox handheld, whatever they're gonna call it, then I can come home and dock that into the next gen Xbox and then continue to play on my TV. Like that's exciting to me. That to me looks like next gen. You're taking it's beyond just frame rates and polygons at that point. I don't care about 4K. I'm gonna just keep it honest. I can play all the games that I have in 4K. I play damn near everything in 1440p because it's a buzzword. Like you don't really get unless you're looking at a large TV like 6 feet
Mm-hmm.
away. Like you don't really notice the details. Like I have a pretty nice monitor that I've had for a couple of years that is 4K capable, but every game that I play is in 1440p because I prefer frame rate over everything. And if we start to get the add, the you add AI on top of that, just like we talked about, what was the last episode before that, you have like dialogue options for NPCs, make them a little bit more natural, fill out these worlds. I think that's more exciting to me versus just this PlayStation 6 can play everything at 4K 60. Because then what's next? So like I said, what's beyond that? Because I'm a consumer who has a PC and I prefer to play on PC, versus a typical dad or person who may not have access to PC gaming that plays everything on console. I don't know, man. Like I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I feel like we just got here. Like I feel like we just got here, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and the sentiment across the board is the same. A lot of people, it's not just you.
Yeah.
It's not just me. Like a lot of people who, are gamers and stuff have expressed the same sentiment. Like, yo, it feel like we just got our hands on these consoles, but
And I
I'm
think
looking forward to
too,
it.
like you look at like young adults who are growing up now. I think one thing that people kind of underestimate too is consumers aren't as ignorant as they used to be. Like consumers are a little bit more informed when it comes to purchasing certain things, especially when it comes to tech.
Hmm.
And I think Xbox
And
and
they have more options as well,
they have
too.
more,
Like,
exactly. They have way more quality options, and you look at like Xbox and PlayStation. They have to compete with mobile as well. They have to compete with iPads. They have to compete with iPhones. You can play Roblox and Fortnite on pretty much
and
anything.
you made that point. You
Yeah,
said something last episode about
yeah,
that stuck with me. Like you have a whole generation that's born now and grow up with
They grow up with
access
tablets in
to
their
these
hand.
things.
Yeah.
This generation, we talked about it at work as well. It's crazy to think we have a whole young adult generation who grew up and they don't know what it's like to not have internet. That's crazy. I remember a time when I feel kind of special because I was
Yeah.
born when the internet was born. Like
Right.
I was
We
like
remember the
around
before
when the
times.
internet
Yes.
first got here. So they looking at me like I'm a damn brachiosaurus. Like, damn you all. Like, but it's just funny to see
Yeah.
that transfer over. Like maybe like your youngest one, you like, yo, you literally was born into the internet.
Yeah. I mean,
Like y'all don't know what it's like
she
not
plays
to
a lot
have
of
it.
Fortnite with her friends. Like that's their thing. You know, she likes some other games, but Fortnite is like her main game that she plays with her friends. And you know, I think a lot of
What is she
people.
playing on Fortnite? Is she playing Fortnite or is she playing the Rock Band in there or
She's
Lego
playing. She's
Fortnite?
playing. I think no build. I believe. I'll ask her
Yeah.
to double check, but I
Oh,
think.
that's my girl.
Yeah.
Yay.
I think she's. I
Because if
think she's
she was
all in on
playing
the no
build,
build Fortnite.
if she was playing build, I was gonna say, yeah, man, put her up for adoption, bro. She ain't right.
I
She
mean,
ain't right.
she'll tell you that she's not good at other games, which isn't just not true. I mean, she's been playing Last of Us 2 on and off. You know, she kind of gets
Hmm.
a little, you know, scared. You know, I don't want to say scared, but a little anxiety in some of the gunfights and stuff. But for the most part, I think Fortnite
I
is
mean,
probably
well,
her thing.
Last of
So
Us will definitely do that to
yeah,
you.
I was about to say it happens to all of us.
She's an adult now, right? That game of all games, yeah, I could see where the anxiety and
Yeah,
tiredness come from. We've made a whole episode about it. Go back and
right.
way back in archives and look at that one.
But yeah, man, I just, you know, I think whatever the next generation looks like, I think it's gonna be geared more towards not our generation of gamers, but just trying to bring
Hmm.
in more of the younger crowd and getting there because they're just like you said, you know, they're starting
What
to
are
grow up,
they?
get jobs, and they're starting to,
Right, the
you
Gen.
know,
What are they? Are they Gen Zs?
they're Gen Z, yeah, I think, and I think,
Really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're Gen Z.
And Zoomer? I don't know. I don't be keeping up with that stuff. Hey, young kids, have
Yeah,
fun, man.
yeah, she will, And Lisa's in chat. She says she will play anything. She's like me. Yeah, she does. She has a pretty good, I think, palette when it comes to playing a lot
Gaming
of different
palette.
games. Yeah.
Welcome to the fold,
But
young
yeah, I
lady.
mean, like a lot of people have to think about it, man. Like Fortnite and Roblox are in my opinion, they're still the two most popular games on earth. I mean, it's just something
It's
that
worlds,
yeah,
because those games created multiverses or universes like
right,
within their games. Like you have so much. It was crazy because I was watching Krista stream the other day and she haven't played Fortnite in a while.
yeah,
And she was so confused. Like she was like, yo, where did all this come from? She was like, what is this? She was just clicking on games
yeah,
and I had to explain it to her. Me in the chat had to explain it to her, like, yo, like it's like Roblox now. Like there's different games you can create.
yep. You
And she
can,
was like, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't know. Like she didn't even know about no build.
yeah. Oh wow. So yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see. Like I don't know. It's gonna take a lot for me personally to get to buy in. If they do drop 2026,
Hmm.
we'll see. You know, Xbox and Sony have made promises before that they haven't kept. I'm honestly more interested in what Nintendo's doing. I think I'm more
I want
excited
to
to
get a
see.
Nintendo, so I'm watching them.
Yeah, like
I
I'm
want to make a valiant effort.
because I mean,
Whatever their next console is, I want to get it.
if we're being honest, man, like they are the true innovators when it comes to consoles. Like they don't you can't even nobody can ever predict what they're gonna do with their next console. You can only kind of guess. I mean,
If you think
nobody
you
thought
know,
they were
go
gonna
left
go.
field every time.
Yeah, like nobody thought they were gonna go from the Wii U to the Switch. Like nobody had any goddamn idea that was gonna happen.
They
Like,
didn't like the concept.
yeah,
Like the whole. I remember when the concept first came out, and people were like, "What?
yeah.
Okay, let's see how that works." Okay, like what? It's like a handheld TV.
Especially since people thought handheld
Portable?
gaming, because there was a time and point where handheld gaming was pretty much gone. It was done. It was done and dusted. But I think we're starting to kind of, you know, we talked about it before with like, you know, the ROG Ally, Steam Deck, you know, whatever this Xbox handheld is going to be. You know, it seems like we're starting to kind of come around and get back to that point where handheld gaming is starting to make a resurgence. So it'll be cool to see. Yeah, man. I don't know how true his sources are. You know, Cole Eastwood kind of hit and miss with me sometimes, man. Like he's a nice guy. I like a lot of his content. But I always tell people with rumors and stuff, man, just take it with a grain of salt. So until you hear from the horse's mouth. So we'll see, man. We shall see.
Industry is definitely crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And let's round this last one. I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this. Speaking about gaming and stuff. So we had the Fallout TV show released this week. They dropped all 8 episodes on Amazon Prime Video. You can actually go and watch the first episode for free. You don't need Amazon Prime to watch episode 1 right now. And
watch it
just out of the gate. I was gonna, but I've only watched episode 1. You said you've watched 3 or 4 of them.
I think I'm at 4 right now. I'm in there. I'm in there.
And I really wanted to talk to you about this because you are a very big fan of the series. You've played quite a few of the games. Like, how do you kind of feel like the show holds up to the franchise as a whole? Like, do you feel like it represents the franchise well? Because I don't really have a
the thing
baseline.
Is, right?
You know what I mean? Like to look.
You don't need to. That's the joys. I think with this, and I was telling my brother yesterday. About X-Men 97.
Yeah.
I think what makes these shows good is you can just get in there and watch it.
Right.
There's no need to especially with comic book movies, to where you have to, especially in Marvel's universe, where a lot of people feel like you have to watch certain amount of movies or different movies to kind of watch a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but I was telling him no, X-Men, I was like, just go watch it. Just watch it.
Yeah, if you guys are, man, oh, God.
But we're here to talk about Fallout. We'll talk about X-Men later.
Yeah.
Fallout is in the same situation, man. Fallout, you don't need to really have played the games, because the thing about Fallout is, I'm only familiar with Fallout 3 and 4. I never played the OG one or part 2. It was... Yeah. My knowledge is just 3 and 4. So if y'all want to chime in with the 1 and 2 knowledge, like I said, hit us up anytime. But you don't need to know the story, because it's in the world, but it's not continuous. 3 and 4 are 2 different stories in the same world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because there's no real protagonist. You are the protagonist. There's no named protagonist of the show.
They pick us there's a story part 3. Part 3, God, it's been so long since I played 3. All I know is basically toward the end, you're trying to purify the world, some water purifier. I can't remember. I have to look it up. It's been a long time since I played 3. 4 is more relatable to the show, because on 4, you're a guy whose family is killed and they kidnap your baby son, and you go out into the world looking for your son.
Jesus.
On the show, it's, there's a girl looking for her father. So, they kind of relatable.
So for the people who don't know, what's a quick elevator pitch for the Fallout series as a whole? Because I know
sci-fi.
little stuff here and there. So it's an apocalyptic, nukes were dropped on Earth.
Apocalyptic sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
If that's your bag, you will fit right in here. It blends in a lot of these elements, and if you're familiar with the game, it's a lot of Easter eggs and little things from the game that they put in there. For example, right, when the ghoul, aka Mr. No-Nose, that's what I call him. When he was in that shootout.
Brother.
Yeah, when he was in that shootout and it was going in slow motion, that's actually in the game. That's one of the things in the game where they do that real slow-mo, and you could zoom in on individual body parts.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of little Easter eggs, with the dog meat, the iguana meat and stuff like that. There's these little bitty sprinkles of the video game in there, and people who are Fallout fanatics, they'll be like, oh, ha ha ha, but I don't think there's humor in there, but it's well placed. It's not over the forced, and you're like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
But it's extremely violent. It's a violent show.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I think that's something
gory.
that kind of surprised me was.
But Fallout is, if you play the game Fallout, it's, people tend to think that when you hear video games, you kind of like you immediately don't think violent, but at the same time, it's like, yo, yeah, Fallout's pretty gruesome, the video game. So you get these moments on the show where, like I said, you have these little moments of, oh, that was in the game. That's cool. But the show could stand alone. This is what makes the show good because, like I said, even if you don't know jack squat about the game, I will recommend that you watch it. There's a good story being told here. I won't say too much about that. I'll just say the story's good. Um, ooh, my throat is getting dry.
Yeah, I keep
Um,
sipping water in between talking.
yeah, like and the post apocalyptic setting. Man, the sets are good.
That's what I was gonna say, man.
The
Like
it
shout out
looks
to
really good.
Amazon because
Set
you
designers,
know
stand up,
their
man.
their shows are kind of hit and miss with me. But the one thing I will give Amazon credit on is that they definitely put a lot of budget and money behind the shows that they make. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a testament, and I think that's something that worked out really well for Fallout. Yeah, there is a lot of CG. I won't say a lot of CG. There is CG in the show, but I think it's done to the point where it's believable. Like you
Right.
know what I mean. And
And the robots.
I think that's the thing that really kind of piqued my interest with the show. The setup was incredibly. It was done incredibly well. Just like and this is no spoilers. This is like the first 5 minutes of the show of
Yeah,
bombs dropping on cities.
it gets crazy. They
Like
jump right into it.
yeah, like it goes from
Like there's
zero
no
to
long
100 very
backstory.
quick. Yeah, and I think that's something that really appealed to me was that and the action of the show. The main character, I don't remember the young lady's name, who's like the actress of the main actress, but
Bernal, oh God, I forgot her name. Let me
yeah,
look it up.
but she's somebody I think who fits really well in the show because they just like you said, like that weird type of humor the show has, like you
It's in the
know,
game. It's like
yeah,
they did a really good job of transferring that weird, quirky sense of humor
yeah,
from the game into the movie. And it's not like overdone or underdone. Like it's done perfectly. And even with the Brother of Steel, the robot suit, if you played the Fallout series and know what that faction is all about, they kind of hit that on the nail. That on they just it was well done.
yeah,
And the robots are supposed to, if it makes sense, they supposed to look that clunky and move that clunky because in the
yeah.
game they're like that. You got to think like
It's
these
kind
are
of like
not
retro
technological
future.
robots.
Yeah,
Yeah, they like this is something that they put together post-apocalyptic like situations where you may be using car scraps or something like that. You got to kind of look at it like that. And so even with the robots, I was laughing because I was like, "Oh, this reminds me of the game." And the robots were badasses in the game,
yeah,
and
yeah.
these settings. I want to see more set pieces though, because one thing that I always loved about the Fallout series were the different settings. Like in Fallout 3, there's a colony or a whatever you want to call it, colony group of people that's living in an old aircraft carrier. So you have a
Oh,
city built in an aircraft carrier. There's these big like set pieces in the game, and I'm just a nerd when it comes to that stuff because you would hate like I watch movies two different ways, right? When I'm with people and then when I'm by myself. So let me tell you the
okay.
freak that I am when I'm by myself watching movies because I pause it. I like to look at the background. Amazon makes it even worse because they have that screen where it has the actors on it
Oh yeah, when
and
you
you could
pause,
click
it'll
on their
show you.
bios and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's a good
So I'm
point.
looking,
Yeah.
I'm reading the trivia, I'm looking at the actors' backgrounds. I am weird. Like when I'm watching movies by myself, like if
Yeah.
you was to ever now, I would never do that if I'm watching with people because people would probably boo me out the room. But when I'm watching movies by myself, I do all this weird stuff. Like I get so into it. But with Fallout, with that being said, with Fallout, they really, really like the first city that they went to. It reminds me of Megaton from Fallout 3. Megaton was a city built around a nuke that didn't explode. So you have the city, it's
Whoa,
a circle, and then there's a nuke just sitting there.
that's
And there's a
insane.
storyline to that in Fallout 3 that is crazy. It's insane. So Yeah, I want to see more of these locations. I wonder if they're going to give us more of those locations and then just as little teasers, like,
Yeah,
little Easter eggs here, like, oh, this is such and such city, but in the game, it was actually something else. But yeah, I'm just a nerd for that stuff, man. I
it
love sets,
definitely, it
set
definitely,
design, stuff like that.
yeah, like it definitely piqued my interest in the series because I've never played. I think I've played all of like 2 hours of 76, and it was kind
That
of
ain't where you want to start.
yeah, it didn't really feel like it was for me personally. I know some people. I know that 76 has a pretty dedicated community to it. And,
It's
and, and let me tell
grown.
you, Xbox is they smart boy because I think yesterday or Thursday when the series dropped, they announced it's either 25 or $45 bundle with every single Fallout game in it, including 76
And
for
it
sale.
the people playing the game is like out of control right now. Like their
Yeah.
numbers are spiking like crazy.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. I want to say like I feel like we're hitting this good point in TV shows and movies with games. You had Mario movie, you had Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2.
They're getting way better.
The quality's we're starting to finally get to that point where, gaming can exist outside of just like gaming IPs can exist outside of just the actual games themselves. And
Easy.
because I don't even want to do. I'll even give Halo Season 2 uh, a respectful nod because of you and Iron Bangle. Shout out to Iron Bangle because you guys have been talking about it and saying a lot of positive things about Halo Season 2. I have yet to go back and watch it. I do plan on it at some point.
You can't go in
Um,
with rose-colored lenses. I'll tell
yeah,
you that.
I'll say that. Yeah, and I
The
think that's
accuracy is
okay.
off. The accuracy is off, but the amount of effort, I feel like they legitimately did kind of sit down, have a talk, like, hey, like you could tell the effort was there. Like, is it perfect? No. But like I said, I'm starting to be a little more gracious when it comes to that.
Right.
And I'm just kind of sitting back, kind of taking it in for what it is. Like this is their vision of Halo and the Master Chief. So be it. Just give me good writing, give me a good story, give me
So
good action,
so
and
let me ask you
I'm
this
accepted.
then. When it comes to video games, right? Video game properties
Hmm.
being turned into film and TV shows. Are you a little bit more lenient on them exploring different things with games than you are with comics? Because I feel like I am.
Ooh,
I kind of feel
ooh,
like I am that way.
good
While
question.
I do respect certain things that are being done with certain movies and stuff when it comes to games, and I mean not games to comics,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's easier to manipulate stories and origins and stuff when it comes to games versus comics because I think the history is not there with games. Yeah, games
Yeah,
have been
comics
around, you know what I mean,
have
but
deep, deep history. That's why it's so hard to, like, let's just say Halo, for example.
right.
Like Halo only goes back to like mid or early 2000s, whereas Superman has an origin of
Since
like 1940
yeah,
or
right.
something, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So to make Superman black or something like that,
Shout out to
it's kind of a,
Valzai, man. People hate him. Shout out to him.
yeah, like to do stuff like that is kind of a harder pill to swallow.
Yeah.
With video games, do I give them grace? Well, the thing is, with me personally, I just need the story to hit.
Yeah.
I just need it to make sense. Like whatever you're gonna do, long as it doesn't suck and
Right.
it's not too far left field. Like Halo, for example. I'm like, you know, we know Master Chief, we know we barely seen his face or whatever, blah, blah, blah. To me, season one, they went a little too far when we saw the Chief cheeks. Like when he was in love and all this, I was like, this just too, it's too far left. I think season
Uh,
two reeled it back in and it
uh,
was like, we're just gonna focus on this, right?
yeah.
Now, even though we still see his face too much, but it makes sense because of the storyline, because their suits were stolen. But no spoilers. But anyway, but yeah, like I'm a little more lenient
Yeah.
long as you give me a good story. Just give me good writing. Don't go too far left. And I'm like,
I respect that.
all right, I can rock with that. I can rock with that. Now, my question to you is, well, first of all, I want to say this. The reason why we're getting more quality video game movies is I think it's a generational thing.
Agreed.
I think because more Young people have grown up with games. Like we came in when games was like, oh my god, our parents was like, no, games are evil. Do
Games
not
are the
play them.
devil. Yeah.
You're a nerd if you play games. Oh, you're a nerd. Blah blah blah. But now with this
Right.
new generation growing up, like we said, they grew up with the internet. They grew up with streaming, with games. So I think companies are making more of a valiant effort to make good shows like Fallout and Sonic series. Like, so you're going to see more and more video game movies because this is another generation. This generation is really into games, so you're going to see it.
Yeah.
I think as before in our generation, it may have been a little bit more of a harder sell, and plus they wasn't pumping out the kind of money needed to make a quality
Yeah,
movie.
that's
Because we
true.
could talk about Double Dragon, we could talk about a Mario, we could talk
Shout
about
out
some
to
bad video
John
games.
Leguizamo in
But
Mario
wait,
from the
Street Fighter
90s.
the movie? What Street Fighter? We can go on and on about our generation of.
They were
But with
so
that being
bad.
said, I got a question to ask you real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
We seeing this, we seeing this trend of good video game movies. Do you think we'll ever get to a place with anime like that?
That's a hard
Hmm.
question because I don't. Mm, I
As
think
anime gets more and more mainstream,
I
do you think we'll get there?
I think it is difficult to take certain. I think so. Let me just say that. I'll start by saying that I think we will eventually get to the point where anime becomes. It's already gotten a lot more popular than it used to be. I mean, once
Do
again,
we get a solid Dragon Ball movie?
the youngest, she loves she likes some anime and stuff here and there. And her, hey, okay, Dragon Ball Z Broly was probably the best movie they've made in the last couple years. I'll say that straight up.
This is
Dragon Ball
true.
Super Broly was. It was. I liked it better than Resurrection F. I thought Resurrection F was a
You
little
like it
too on
better
the
than
nose.
Superhero
I
with Gohan? Don't forget Beast Gohan. Don't do him like that.
see, guys, he's trying to set me off, and he knows it. He's trying to send me down a path that you guys
I'm
go.
just noting the movie that came after
It
Broly.
was not good. I didn't like it because of the random 3D, and it wasn't just. I didn't like the art style of the movie. I think that's what kind of kept me from watching it
Mhm.
seriously. And I think Dragon Ball just by nature is just built off of nostalgia. RP Akira Toriyama, of course,
It really
but
is. It's nostalgia.
we've
Driven.
we've seen these villains before. We've seen Cell.
One and
We've
two. What
seen
was it?
Frieza.
Android. The one and two was kind of
Yeah,
generic.
we've seen kind of these enemies they fought before, which is probably why I liked
Cell
Super.
Max was garbage.
Yeah,
I'll say it out loud. Cell Max was trash. He shouldn't have never been created. I feel you on that.
yeah. I
I
just
feel you.
I think anime is a tough thing for some people to get into because some of the stories are a little bit they're not westernized. The typical plot points and stuff is not what your typical Western audience will watch. I think if they continue to go down the route of doing like
Hmm.
high quality anime movies with some mix of live action, a lot of people praised the One Piece live action show. I still haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I know,
Hmm.
fake fan, all that, blah 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 blah. But I heard really good things about the One Piece live action show.
Is it true? Wait, is it true that the big piece is finally about to come to an end?
I think we're about 3 or 4 years out from that. If I'm being honest, yeah, I think so. He's
That's still close to an end to me,
Otis talked
though.
about it. He said that this is the final arc, and I think people kind of took that and ran with it, where he was saying
Those arcs could be long as
those
hell.
arcs can last 5+ years with him, man. But I think where people are starting to realize with it, because he's starting to answer a lot of questions that have been set up decades ago. Like we're starting to finally we're peeking behind the curtains to some of the biggest answers, the biggest questions in One Piece, and I
I
think,
mean, it's about that time.
yeah, I
I've been
think I
keeping
think
up
it's
with a lot of news on it. I don't read it per se, but I've been keeping up with a lot that's been going on in the last
it's
couple
some
of
I
arcs.
think personally it's some of the best writing for shonen out. Just me
Go out on
personally,
top, man.
yeah, that's just
Go
me
out on
personally.
top, man. Like if it is what you say, like if it's just, and it's not just you. A lot of people have been very thrilled. Our resident One Piecer, Ivan,
Yeah,
he's like a big fan of One Piece, and he's been saying the same thing. I say go out on the top, man. Don't
and
keep pushing it
and
until it gets stale.
he did us dirty a couple of weeks ago because the last chapter that came out, and this is it, chat, because I know we're way over time, but the last chapter that dropped was one of the biggest bombshells that could have, like, it was trending on Twitter and everything, and then he took a 3-week break. So we're not getting a new chapter, I think, until this week, which is just people were losing their minds.
Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, man, I keep like even though I ain't read it, I'm still on episode. Wait, I actually went up in episodes. I'm on episode 22 now.
We're gonna talk about that again in the next pod. I'm
But
gonna
yeah, I've
make a
been
note
keeping
for
up
that.
with it, man. I be seeing what's going on, you know. So
Yeah.
I be there a little bit, you know.
But I
But
don't know, man. I think anime still has a ways to go to kind of penetrate
and they have
that
different beliefs
Western
and
market.
values
Right.
which play a part into it too. Like their beliefs and values, like you said, it may not transfer or translate well
to everything.
with Western,
yeah.
you know, society. And I mean, that's not like a bad thing. Like,
No.
I'm not saying like, oh, their values are trash, but they're just like, we might be like, oh, well, I don't get why.
I think
He
people
did
just have
that.
to be a little bit more open minded when it comes to anime.
Yeah, true.
You
true.
know, I think, you know, just like, you know, a lot of just like you said, beliefs, story structure, and a lot of that stuff is different from what you have typically in like American comics. So
Yeah.
I mean, that remains to be seen, but we'll see, man. I think it'll be worth it to talk about Fallout maybe like once we both finish all 8 episodes, because it's only 8 episodes.
yeah, we could do it like a little review.
Yeah,
boom,
I
pal,
think like
you
a
know?
little spoiler cast type deal would be fun to talk about it, because
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
really all into it, man. Like I'm all in on Fallout TV right now.
So far, so good. I just hope the last 4 episodes don't start like a downward trend.
It doesn't
know what I
seem like
mean?
it.
But-
A lot of people that I've seen that have finished it said it was great from beginning to end. So I got high
Yeah,
hopes
that
for
dude with the head, man. What's that guy with the head? The ghoul. He's
I
good.
forget the actor's name, but yeah, he's an incredible actor, man.
Yeah, I call him boy.
Oh,
He
fun
make
fact,
me-
he
no.
voices what's the guy's name on Invincible? The guy who works for the government with the scar on his face.
You talking about Cecil?
He's the voice of Cecil.
Yeah, he
On
is
him.
the voice of Cecil.
Yeah, fun
He
fact for
sure
you guys.
is.
So
He sure is. Speaking
But
of speaking of Invincible, continue next episode where
Yeah.
we talk about.
I'll start watching it some point this week. I got you.
I
haven't watched a
can't
single
wait.
episode
We
season
we
two,
could
so
do a little. We could talk about that too once you finish it. Oh man, Invincible's so
I've heard good things.
good. It's so good, man. Because he's the only superhero who gets his ass whooped every episode.
Yeah, I thought you were stronger. All right, I'm done. All right, guys, that's gonna be the end of the episode, man. Thank you guys for hanging out for episode 186, man. We're creeping up on the big 2, man, the big 2 hundo, which is just, I can't, once again, I know we say this all the time, but it's just crazy that we've been trucking along this far, man, and I'm so appreciative to have everyone here, man. And shout out to everybody in chat, man. I know we hadn't been talking to you guys as much today, but shout out to BZ, Tori, my wife, Lisa, Ivan, Sergey. Appreciate everybody who was here, all of our listeners, our audio listeners, man. I'm telling you guys, if you guys should come hang out, it's live. We have fun here. You know, we appreciate you guys being here, whether or not you're on your favorite podcasting platform or you're in chat. But we're gonna get up out of here, man. You guys can find me everywhere. Darius the artist, where Easy 3. And shout out to our homie Jamel, man. I appreciate you, bro. We love you around
We
here,
gonna get
man.
you
We
that
hope
audio,
things
man.
we hope things get better for you as well. And I'm gonna give DC the floor, man.
I'm squinting my eyes for our audio listeners because I forgot what you said that pissed me off.
Who, me?
But anyway, yeah, you said, I forgot what you said. You bastard. I can't remember.
I don't know.
We're going to get up out this thing because we've been a little long-winded, man. Everyone have a beautiful, great Saturday. I'm going to go kick it with the homies, Tori and Quay today, and just brainstorm on some ideas, man, and just get outside and breathe. Get outside of your house. Go outside and breathe. Touch the air and just breathe, man. Just breathe. Just mental health, man. Make sure your mind's right.
Put your
Make sure
put
that
your
mind
naked
right.
foot on some grass. It'll do you some good, actually. Scientifically proven. All right,
Word.
guys. Thank you guys for hanging out, man. If you guys are in chat, hang around. We're going to play some video games, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.